Hi everyone, Bob again, back at it with another video. Want to share an interesting story. Over the weekend, I went to go pay my father a visit. He kind of lives out of town, and the thing you gotta understand about my father is that he has this impressive, what you might call a man cave. He's kind of got his own little state-of-the-art entertainment center. He's got a huge TV. He's got these custom-made speakers that cost him a small fortune. It's like 7.1 surround sound. Pretty impressive stuff. So I'm visiting him over the weekend, and late one night he decides to go to bed earlier than he normally does. And I was like, I'm gonna enjoy the entertainment center for myself a little bit, and before I turn in myself. And my dad, he doesn't watch a lot of movies. He's not really a movie guy. He mostly uses it for watching sports games and listening to music and watching cable news, which I'm not a fan of. I think he should watch less of that, but I digress. So I figure I'll watch a movie, but I didn't bring any with me, so I'm kind of surfing through the channels, and I'm starting to be reminded of why I don't really pay for TV. I don't have cable. I cut the cord years ago. Most of what's on TV, I think, is just like garbage. It's mostly just like reality TV and whatnot. So I'm having trouble finding something, and then eventually I land on, I believe it's Turner Classic Movies. This was a Sunday night, and it was pretty late. They were playing The Heiress, which actually recently got inducted into the Criterion Collection, though it won't be out for a few months. And but it was like near the end of the film, so I didn't get much of a chance to enjoy it. What was interesting, though, is that film stars Montgomery Clift, who appears in the film that they played right after that movie went off, which was called Raintree County. I've never heard of it before. It came out in 1957. Apparently, it was a big pet project of the people who were working over at MGM at the time. And he stars in that film along with Elizabeth Taylor. And I was like, wow, I've never heard of this before. It sounds pretty interesting. And apparently, it was a film that was designed to kind of capitalize on the popularity of Gone with the Wind, which had made period pieces or historical period piece melodramas really popular at the time. And they wanted to make one of those. So Raintree County, which was based on an actual book. It's a huge tome. It's like 1,000 pages or something from what I hear. Apparently it's big enough if you were trapped in the wilderness, you could bludgeon a large predatory cat to death with. So it was a huge book, but they decided to make it into a movie, and I had never heard of it before, so I figured I'd sit down and watch the first little bit of it. And I found myself rather intrigued. It takes place in Indiana during the mid-19th century United States, just a few years before the Civil War broke out, and it stars Montgomery Clift as a young man, is very ambitious. Maybe a little bit on the gullible side, I think, but other than that, he seems rather intelligent, and he's ambitious, and he seems like his heart's in the right place, and he's kind of torn between two women. One play Nell Gaither, played by Eva Marie Saint, who's still alive, I found out. Apparently she's in her 90s, and every once in a while she pops up in something. I read online that apparently she was the voice of Katara in The Legend of Korra. That was interesting to learn. I did not know that. But yeah, she's also in this film. She plays Neil Gaither, apparently another young woman who's very cultured and intelligent and very socio-politically conscious. And he seems to be pining for her, but he's also kind of got some interest in this other woman, Susanna Drake, played by Elizabeth Taylor, who's this sort of Southern belle who's kind of fallen head over heels for Montgomery Clift's character. Who is he? John Shaughnessy, I believe. I'm trying to remember. I don't have my notes with me right here. Interesting film. Without going into too many details, as a result of a couple poor decisions, he wounds up betrothed to Susanna, Elizabeth Taylor's character, and he kind of relocates to the South, where she's from. New Orleans to be specific, and he kind of finds himself at a bit of a culture clash with the people down there over the practice of slavery, which he personally detests. And of course that puts him at odds with his family and with his new betrothed. and who herself has some pretty unflattering opinions regarding slavery and racial dynamics in the United States. And I found the film really interesting as it went along, not just because it's sort of this love triangle between this man who's torn between two women that he does seem to care about, though he seems to be trapped in a marital relationship with the one that he doesn't seem to be the most compatible with. And I noticed that it seemed like they were drawing some interesting parallels between John and Susanna, in the sense that John is in this committed relationship with her, and he wants the relationship to work, even though Susanna kind of has a lot of personal problems with her. Apparently she has a lot of emotional baggage. She's got kind of a traumatized past that seems to have a lot of mystery involved with it. Something very, very suspicious involving her deceased parents. And she seems to exhibit some very unusual behavior, which seems to suggest a potential mental illness. And I could see that they were kind of drawing parallels between their relationship and the relationship you could say America had with the South at the time, in the sense that America is in this committed relationship to the southern states, and they want the arrangement to work, but they're having a hard time making it work because of the South has its own illness. Of course, in this case, the illness is the practice of slavery. So I thought it was really interesting, and I was enjoying the film as it went along. And then partway through, I'm like, this film, I wonder how long it is. So I looked it up on Wikipedia. This film is just over 180 minutes long. It's just barely over 3 hours in length. And that was distressing to learn, because they didn't start playing this movie until, like, I want to say midnight. So, and I was like, I can't afford to be up until 3 in the morning watching this. I got to be somewhere tomorrow. So I was only able to make it about an hour, maybe a little over an hour in. I think I got to a scene where John and Susanna was hosting some sort of party at their manor after it was announced that Abraham Lincoln had won the election. And they had kind of a moment there, and after that I kind of had to throw in the towel. And I was like, I guess I'll pick this up and watch this later, because I am kind of intrigued. So not long, the following day, I'll go and I decided to look it up, see if I can get some details on this movie, and see, where can I find this? Well, I can't find it on Amazon Video. I can't seem to find it on Netflix. I can't even find it on YouTube, because sometimes these really old films, you can usually find them on YouTube in their entirety, because the people who own the copyrights on them, they don't really care that much, because they're far older films, and they kind of only appeal to a rather niche audience. So I was like, I wonder how much a copy of this goes for. So I look it up on Amazon. This movie didn't even get a Blu-ray release. It never got a Blu-ray release. It got a DVD release, but I'm guessing it's out of print, because it goes for like $60. $60, and I'm pretty sure it's used. If you don't want to splurge, you can spend $30 and get it used on VHS, I guess. But no, I'm not spending that much money. But I was like, man, I really want to finish this film. I only got like about a third of the way into it, and I can't find a copy of it anywhere. It's just nuts. It's driving me crazy. And I was wondering if anyone else has ever heard of this film or knew of a place to find it, because I was interested excuse me, I'm stumbling over my words. I was interested in finishing it, and I just can't find it. I found a few other interesting facts about this film. Apparently, modern critics do not like it. I think Rotten Tomatoes, the score on it is pretty low at the moment. Apparently, it's accused of being kind of a Gone with the Wind wannabe. It's kind of biting its style, which, yeah, it kind of is. I wouldn't say this is Gone with the Wind good, but I thought, like, in a vacuum on its own, it stands up. It seemed like it held up pretty well. I don't know, maybe it kind of fell apart in the later half of the film, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. But I was pretty intrigued. I've definitely left with wanting to finish the film. I kind of liked the performances. It took me a while to get used to them, probably because they start off as, like, I guess you could call them college students, and I don't know if they were playing college students exactly well, but as they kind of went into adulthood, it feels like everyone got into their characters pretty well, and I was enjoying the performances. But man, I just could not Um, I can't find this film anywhere. And I was wondering if anyone else has heard of this film, because I can't find any. I can find, but very few details on it, and it's just not available anywhere. And yeah, just kind of want to make a video reaching out to see if anyone's heard of this film, because it seemed really intriguing, and I was disappointed I couldn't find any more details on it, and definitely disappointed I couldn't find any any place to go ahead and watch it so I could finish it. I guess I could read the book, but like I said, it's 1,000 pages, and I'm already slogging through a brick of a different kind at the moment. I don't have time to be reading a book of that size. But yep, just want to go ahead and put this video out, see if anyone's ever heard of this film. I'll go ahead and leave this here if you heard of it, or you know of any place where I can go watch it in its entirety without having to spend a bunch of money on a secondhand DVD. Who knows how good the print is on that one. The print on the version I saw on TV wasn't too shabby. It could use some cleaning up. Who knows? Maybe Criterion will pick it up. I thought it was funny how they were playing The Heiress, which just recently got picked up right before it. So who knows? Maybe they won't. Like I said, apparently the critics aren't a big fan of this, but I mean, it could certainly use an upgraded release. Like I said, it seems like it never got a Blu-ray release, so that was mighty odd. But yep. Just want to reach out to anyone who might have seen this film. Go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section. It's my favorite part about YouTube, is getting comments from people. But yeah, that's it. Y'all be good to each other, and I will see you in the next video.